Sweet. So as promised, we'll give till 11:55 to get rolling. And then Deanna said she was going to help facilitate today. Sorry. We might talk about some strategic meeting time change to make it more cohesive for everybody. Boom. Thank you. I see you. I'm pointing to your face, Deanna. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. And I'm amazed how I can hear you even with your mask on. That's you're actually my first experience of having a Zoom with somebody wearing a mask.
We have to wear them. We've tightened up our mask protocol, particularly on really busy days like today. But I'm wearing the lighter one actually because I sweat through the heavier one earlier. So this is the less expensive, like the earband ones that for us are really uncomfortable. For me, at least, I can't wear it for more than a bit. But I worked so much this morning in the heat that I was so gross in my mask. I'm like, here's my breathable, lightweight, smells like a little chemical factory mask. Sorry.
Have you seen the trick to put like a clip on the back of your head to like attach the two earpieces together?
I would do that, but I got my friend who's a seamstress to make us. So we're using the drawstring ones, which actually also work well because they are a little bit tight. Like it feels more, it's like a double layer and we can put a filter in it. And so it's a little more like high quality feeling. We'll be selling those also starting next week for those that want uber protection and not have to clip their earbands. And smiling under my mask. So I'll wait like 5 minutes and we'll see who else calls. And here we are.
Hello, everyone. Gary Gaston with the UCSB Police Department. How is everyone?
Hey, Gary.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, it's nice to hear your voice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was G-Gas earlier on another computer that didn't have neither a microphone nor a speaker, so I had to switch about that.
You were a mystery member of the audience.
I was. I thought I heard someone say my name there, but
it was me.
You heard right.
I have the same issue with my work computer, which I didn't realize at first that there's no microphone or camera. And so I was late to the uptick because I went to go buy a webcam and it's like you get laughed at this point if you're trying to go buy a webcam. Like, oh, we've been sold out of those for like 3 months. They're like, well, I didn't need a Zoom. So I use my phone, I use my computer, I'm figuring it out. What time is it? Okay, wait like 1 more minute so I can be officially on time. And we'll see who else calls.
Any pets that you all want to show off for us while we're waiting?
Nope.
Do I have a pet?
Look at my super cool utility box cutter, you guys. It's not a pet, but it's like damn grocery boss style. It's a switchblade. That's my cool thing.
Oh, that's cute, Deanna. That's funny.
Guatemala.
Amazing.
We got Trinity a pet hamster named Peanut. I'll see if I can grab him a little bit.
Oh, fun.
That's awesome.
Right.
Amazing. I can close this door, maybe keep the mask up. Someone's typing so fast. They're like a typing machine.
I didn't realize I had the mute off. Sorry.
You're hired. You're the stenographer. Okay. Well, it's 11:55. So I think as promised, we can get ourselves started. I don't know that I see Gina on the call from the county unless she's hiding. So that's fine. Maybe she'll call late. Do we want to go around and do introductions? I have no idea if everybody's Zoom screen is the same layout. So no, it's not. No, Jonathan knows that. Is there an easy way to name people, or should we just name people and then have you introduce that way? Kind of how I did it last time.
I think that works. That seems to work.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do that. Yeah.
Okay. So first, I just want to say welcome, and I want to thank Jonathan and IVCSD for being our Zoom hosts. So that's very nice because this is better. The other way was really fun with the Wild West of the teleconference, but this is better. So why don't we start with Jonathan, actually, since you're in the corner of my screen.
Hi, everybody. This is Jonathan Abud. I'm the General Manager for Isla Vista Community Services District.
And then how about Leonore?
Hi, everyone. My name is Leonore. I'm the Program Director at the St. George Youth Center, YMCA.
Diana?
Hello, my name is Diana. I am the Director of Community Affairs, Student Development and Leadership for AS.
Awesome. Jay?
Jay Freeman. I'm on the Board of Directors of the Isla Vista Community Service District and the Goleta Valley Library Advisory Commission.
Aaron?
Good morning, Aaron Jones, Director of the Educational Opportunity Program, UCSB.
Awesome. Lisa?
Hi,
Osborne.
Lisa Osborne, KCSB News and Public Affairs Director.
And Spencer?
Hi, Spencer Brandt, Isla Vista Community Services District Board President.
Yitzel?
Hi, everybody. My name is Yitzel, and I work at the Pardal Center with the Community Resource Group.
Awesome. How about Lori?
Hi, I'm Lori Goodman, and I'm the Executive Director of the Isla Vista Youth Project. And I'm kind of eating lunch, so I'm going to take my camera off again.
Totally valid. I'm assuming YouTube Live is Jay's recording of the meeting. Cool. How about Wendy? I see you. Wendy on mute. Oh,
Hi, this is Wendy from Standing Together to End Sexual Assault.
Perfect. And how about Justin?
Justin Schroeder with the Sheriff's Department, Isla Vista Community Resource Deputy. How's everybody doing?
Great. How about Derek?
Hi, everyone. This is Derek Marzano with the Community Outreach Team for the University Police Department.
Sweet. And Bianca?
Hi, everyone. I'm Bianca Orozco with Standing Together to End Sexual Assault.
Thank you. How about Deborah?
This is Deborah Anderson. I'm the Assistant General Manager at the Isla Vista Community Services District.
Well, it's good to hear your voice. I feel like it's been a minute. How about Gary?
Hello, everyone. Gary Gaston, UCPD Community Outreach Officer.
Sweet. And Ray?
Hello, everybody. This is Ray Willifert representing IV Rec and Parks.
And Seth?
Hi, I'm nobody important. I'm just a friend of Jay's. I live in Santa Monica.
Somebody important if you thought to call in, so thank you for giving us the time. How about Miriam?
I'm from the PC staff, student staff.
Thank you for calling in. Other Lisa? She's on mute. Other Lisa is the club's board president, I'm pretty sure. I think she's muted and probably away. So maybe she'll jump in later. And how about Savannah? Savannah, are you there? Oh, there you are.
I am. Can you hear me?
That's better, I think.
Okay. Forgive the stall in the background. My name's Savannah, and I'm the Pardal Center Program Coordinator.
Maybe right now it's Savannah. Sorry.
Good one, Melissa. Good
Hey,
one.
thanks. Even with tired, still puns. Okay, well, usually, is there anybody on the call from the county Usually Gina would be on the call, but maybe she's unable.
Melissa, I'm not sure if Derek introduced himself.
Derek did, but he can do it again if he wants.
Would you like me to? You want a video this time? Hi.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm Derek, UCPD Community Outreach Team.
Good to see your face. Well, in lieu of having Gina on the call, we would usually kick this off with county updates. Maybe we'll punt it to IVCSD since we have Spencer and Jonathan both on the call. Does that feel like a good start off for everybody? We're all nodding. I don't know if Spencer or Jonathan are nodding.
Sure. Yeah, that works for us.
Great. Thank you.
Jonathan, do you want to go first and give any updates in regards to the community center?
We have no updates on the community center besides that it's still 12:30 to 2:30 on Wednesdays and on Fridays is homeless service center and distributing meals. And we're gonna start doing sign up for CalFresh soon next week, hopefully on Wednesday, maybe the 4th. That next big thing because there's a new CalFresh benefit. And so that's our focus there. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to have it expand beyond those 2 days, maybe Thursday. So that's pretty much set at that point. But we just want to keep adding new services like this CalFresh sign up now because there's a new CalFresh benefit because of the pandemic.
Thanks for that. And I would just add on in regards to COVID in general that we put together a working group that a couple of you are a part of that is reviewing the county's draft guidelines for reopening. This is reopening that's going to be done in a phased and slow approach. And this document has guidelines for each specific sector of the economy and each different type of service provider. And so we had a good meeting yesterday going through those and really we're just trying to start the conversation to try and get people's feedback on what is it that you need to safely be able to reopen your business or your service provision. What is it that you are going to need to be able to transition eventually to a new normal so that when the governor tells us that it's okay to start reopening, that we can begin that process and we've got a plan in place. So that's sort of our goal. And if you want to talk more with me about that offline, I'm be happy to do that.
Thanks, Spencer. Does anybody have any questions for Spencer or Jonathan about community center use or any of the programs being offered or the reopening plan beginning? Awesome. Just for me, for clarity, Jonathan, the CalFresh signups, that's for the whole community. So it's for anybody that needs.
Yeah, anyone who qualifies can get help to sign up for CalFresh if they show up. And we've had people, you can't assume what anyone's situation is, but we've had a lot of different people show up to the 12:30 to 2:30 services.
Awesome. Can you remind me also for the services, 12:30 to 2:30, there's a meal service and there's free Wi-Fi. And what else is happening?
And then we pass out hygiene kits.
Kits.
Hand sanitizer and water and socks and stuff and other things to keep hygienic. So, and then there's these signups for different services. So we're doing stimulus checks. We're still doing stimulus checks, but now it's CalFresh as well.
That's awesome. Perfect. I'm just trying to I can share that with our team here also because we have increased people coming through the co-op that are newer to the community that seem like they could possibly be in need of the support. So it's good for us to keep remembering that that's there and that we can send people there.
Yeah, sorry we don't have a flyer or anything yet, but we will soon. Yeah, okay. I need to ask AmeriCorps for it.
Awesome. Any other questions? Anybody? Okay. We've had a few people join the call actually, so maybe we'll do a quick round of other intros. I see Viviana. Do you want to do a quick intro?
Sorry, thank you.
Do you want to give there you go.
Okay, an update Did Jonathan give an update about the census?
I didn't. Please.
Okay.
Go.
So, and we are going to do it together because we've been working on different aspects of the census, So, we are moving to phone banking because we are low in Isla Vista in the response, and a lot of you know that the deadline for response has been moved to October 31st. And Jonathan and I were talking about that we are concerned about doing IV in October 31st because the students, change leases and all of that, and it's going to be a mess. But I talked to Paula Cedar, our strategist, yesterday, and she said that it doesn't matter if we want to insist until October. Again, they can check the duplicate, and they will take the latest one into account. Jonathan has done a fabulous job with his interns about phone banking. So we got trained about the software. We have some students working on it, and this week I was able to hire probably 4 or 6 more interns who already work at UCSB. To do that work because we got a grant from the Office of the President to do that, So if you have any students that are already working for UCSB and would like to get some extra hours, we have the funding for that. And Jonathan, earlier this morning, you gave a good update in terms of numbers after phone banking.
Yeah. We do need a lot of help to call into Isla Vista residents to ask them to fill out the census. There's like 4,000 numbers to call, and we did a good job last week with like 100 phone calls made, but IV is still very low in census reporting. It's like 45%, 47% at the high end, and Santa Barbara County is at like high 50s, low 60s, and that's where California is too. So we're way behind the curve in IV right now. And so we need as much help as possible. We have a training system set up, and it's really easy to call people, and you're just, letting them know about the census. And so we're sending out an email to the CSD listserv, hopefully today, as a call for volunteers with like a link and everything. So paid people are good because he can guarantee that they get it done, but we also could use some help.
Yeah.
What is sorry to interrupt. How many households reported in IV? And also, do you have an easy website where KCSB might be able to just mention it during our newscast? I know we're doing another census story.
Yeah, sorry, Lisa, you kind of broke up. Which website were you asking? The one that shows the percent or the where to fill it out?
I wanted to ask you about the percent. I missed that number. And then also an easy web address that we could, like the news anchor could share on the radio because they did a census interview this week. So I just thought that might be a tag for if you were looking for volunteers, people could go to a website for info.
To volunteer, maybe it would be easier if they email Jonathan or myself,
Oh, sorry, Viviana, go ahead.
No, because I don't think, we do have a website at UCSB for the census, but it won't, it won't link to us, So if you are talking about recruiting volunteers, maybe an email will be better. What do you think, Jonathan?
I mean, I think if people wanted to volunteer, we have the CSD census page, which we can put the link on there.
Okay, yeah.
And it has like the FAQ specific to Isla Vista.
Perfect. Something that's simple is good because they're just going to mention it once, once, and it's not in writing. So
yeah,
that way, if people are curious, they'll hear it. Even if they miss the web address, they can at least try and track it down. So
yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And in terms of reporting for UCSB, I know that housing had the deadline last week to report. And I asked them this morning and they just sent me an email, but I haven't been able to open it. So by the end of the meeting, I can probably try to see if we have good news from that. And the big still the big challenge is fraternities and sororities, but I'm getting into that this week, trying to find an alternative way of getting to reports.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt too.
That's on my end.
So does it feel like a good follow-up? Do you want, I see the post that Jonathan did. Is that just a good link for more information about how to help with the phone banking? Or where's the best, how can we best support in the widest way to help get you volunteers?
Yeah, we will post our like volunteer link on that site, or there'll be like just a separate Google like Sheets volunteer link that I'll be sending out to the CSD mailing list, which I think most people on here are on. And so just forwarding that email to your groups of people that would be reliable volunteers. So like maybe boards of directors who have an interest in Isla Vista getting funding, people like that who would have a stake in making sure this happens, or just interns like Viviana and I are having do some of this work. So getting that link though to people is the best way, because then we'll contact them and set them up with the training and get them going.
And I have to give kudos to Jonathan's interns because they trained my interns last night, and the training was fabulous. It's a very easy way. You do it from your cell phone, so it's not that complicated.
Do they need to be 18 years or older?
To be a volunteer? No.
Okay.
Anyone can do it.
And we have a script, like a very detailed script with different scenarios that they can follow.
Does it seem helpful or interesting if the co-op was to offer like an incentive? Like if you call 100 people, you could get like a $20 gift card. Is that weird?
Oh, that's
I don't
awesome.
know. It'd be kind of a cool like thread together.
Yeah,
We can think of something.
It's always
Maybe not.
nice to have that for volunteers.
Let's think of something. I'm happy to offline figure something out because we have, we have a little bit. We haven't been doing lots of donations because it's been a different flow for us, and so we have that. May be a cool way for us to, be a part of the process in our way without. It's like helping without helping, I guess.
Yeah.
No, that's very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, for that, I would suggest that the gift cards are only for volunteers because our interns get paid. So I think it wouldn't be fair for the volunteers. You get paid, you are putting all these hours because you need the money. And then I think Savannah asked if they can do it remotely. Yes, or the training is remotely, and then it's using a software, and then you get numbers assigned, and you can work everything out of the software from your phone.
Amazing.
And I also, the trainers, mentioned last night that their experience is that probably people are answering more the phone between 4 and 7 p.m. or 3 and 7 p.m. So if that's also that it's important for you.
That's great. Any other, sorry.
I just had a question. Did you say that you were going to have a flyer that was going to be coming out for this, or this was I think this was the earlier conversation about the community center. But there was an email or a flyer for volunteers. Definitely happy to send that out as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll send we'll send it to the CSD mailing list, but I'll forward it to your. I don't know if your new AS email. Do you have a new AS email, or is it the same old one?
It's the old one.
And you should be on it. Yeah.
Can you send it as a JPEG also?
Well, that's the thing. I don't have a flyer, and I'd have to get one made. I can try to do one, but I'd rather send the email quick first today, and then flyer later.
I don't know if Arabella has made an infographic or something asking for volunteers. I don't know.
No.
No. Okay.
Great.
Great. Any other questions about census? You guys are legends. What a crazy endeavor still. And now even with the extension, it's complicated and it's so detailed and it's a real, it's a really incredible, honestly, that this is, I could say every meeting, but it's like all this like tumultuous roller coasters happening. And there's like census, getting through it. It's kind of cool. So thank you. Did anybody else jump on the call that wants to introduce? I see Ash's face. Do you want to give a quick intro? No, it's okay. You don't have to. Hi, Ash.
I don't do anything today, but hi.
Hi. Okay. Is there anybody else that has general update? Still don't think we have Gina on the call, so we will follow up probably via email if there's county. I also did email out to everybody Joan Hartman's most recent general county update that went out on the 5th, and so that I sent with the call reminder for this. And so that was, I think there's a little bit about community COVID tests in there that feels very important. For those that have been, waiting with bated breath for more testing to be available, that's sort of what's rolling out right now. It started in North County this week in Santa Maria. And I think we understand it to be opening at Earl Warren early next week. I'm pretty sure that that's the case. But as we get more updates about community testing, we'll definitely share that out. Is there anybody on the call? Maybe say again?
Earl Warren opened today.
Open today. Oh, that's great. Thank you for that. Great. We're anticipating seeing numbers go up a little bit, maybe even in Isla Vista as a result of more testing being available. So it'll be interesting to see how that starts to kind of unlock a different potential for what's happening here. So we'll find out.
Melissa, question: is there a place other than Cottage Hospital in the area that's going to be testing like a setup they have at Earl Warren Showgrounds?
I thought that Earl Warren was that place where you would go for that more expansive opportunity to be tested, because I think the clinic has some tests, but it's not as easy to get the test at the clinic. I'm not sure does anybody on the call know more details about those test sites?
The state-backed testing site for Santa Barbara is at Earl Warren, and they're doing it, I think they might be doing it 7 days a week, like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And you need to make an appointment in advance, and it's not a drive-through, so you actually have to go inside. And then that's going to be it for Santa Barbara. And then there's one in Lompoc that's supposed to open tomorrow, and then they had the one in Santa Maria that opened on Monday.
So, hey everyone, this is Spencer. What you should do if you have people that want to get tested is go on the public health website for Santa Barbara County, and I can put the link in there, and click on the testing icon. That'll take you to another website, which is the contractor that the county is using for all of the testing, and that will direct you to where you need to go to set up. It'll allow you to set up an appointment.
Oh, great. Thank you. I've had a few people ask me in passing. Appreciate it.
Melissa, I just was able to read my email from housing, and they have successfully reported all the people who live in university housing except for family housing, and I think there is a Sierra Madre. There are a couple of them that they will have to do it themselves. And also they were able to include most of Tropicana with the university. So hopefully we have reported maybe 6,000 to 8,000 students there.
Awesome. That's amazing.
That's great. Thank you so much.
It's like a circus. chasing who to get reports from. Gary, did that answer your question about tests for what we know?
That definitely did. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Okay, great. Maybe do we want to move to a law enforcement update? Does that feel helpful for people now, since we have law enforcement on the call?
Yes.
If there's an update, maybe between Gary and Justin and Derek. You guys can duke it out.
But also, I don't have much to report. We're still at full patrol strength, and we are still in kind of a defend the fortress type mode where lots of physical presence for law enforcement, lots of area checks and PR contacts with people right now, just going on and check on people. So there's not a whole lot going on other than that. Colonial Point's having issues with snowy plover, so we're out there a lot as well. We're out there, we have ATP capabilities, and so we're patrolling beaches and stuff like that. But that's that's about it for us.
So you're on Snowy Patrolver. Just kidding. See, I penned it. Can you, sorry, is that me? Trouble like, sorry, you guys, I'm really tired, so I get really weird. Are you meaning that people are going onto the habitat and so you guys are kind of keeping the boundary?
Yeah, so a lot of people are flocking to the beaches right now because they're having a hard time with the shelter. Yeah. So they will go out there for like when the sun's going down, and we have a lot of issues with people walking their dogs off leash. And so that's obviously a problem. What I learned today is that the little baby snowy plovers are here. They're starting to hatch right now. And what they tend to do is they blend in with the sand. So when they get scared, they hunker down. And so they're fearful that people will step on them. Oh. So they've been trying to get the docents out there, and we've been working with them quite a bit, just going out there and just getting the people to be aware. And there's some citations that can be handed out for dog off leash, but really just to protect the snowy plovers and stuff like that.
Gary, is there any signage out there that tells people that there's a little baby underneath?
Yeah, so they have a whole area that's marked off with fencing. They've had to move the fencing down because apparently the way that the animals, the way the snowy plovers, after they hatch, they need a little area to walk around. So they moved the fence line closer to the ocean. And so when it's high tide, there's not a whole lot of area to walk through there, but it's just a small amount of time that they're doing that. But basically, they're allowing folks to walk through this one area. But then there's another area that's more of a red zone. That's a stay away order. So I think people are frustrated anyway with kind of the COVID restrictions, but even more so when they try to get away to the beach, taking a little more of the beach away. So we're trying to ease the tension out there a little bit with folks.
I put a little comment, and maybe this is more like a Derek/other outreach, but that feels like a really cute Instagram moment. Like law enforcement helping protect the plover babies. I don't know if that's weird, but like a heart opening moment. Yes. So that's my big idea.
I love that idea, actually.
We will look forward to seeing your important post about plover patrolvering on Instagram.
That is what we need.
A little bit of that, like fun lightness. Justin, do you want to give thank you. Justin, do you want to give an update since we still have you on the call?
Well, I don't have anything about snowy plovers, so I guess I lose that battle. But as far as our update goes, there's really not much. As you guys all know, the Foot Patrol staff is back in Goleta, but Juan and I are trying to get that changed. We've heard from the patrol guys that night shift has been pretty busy out there in IV. So I'm actually going to be working tomorrow night and Saturday night to kind of get a feel for it. And hopefully we can write a decent enough report that our management staff decides that we can restaff the Foot Patrol again so we can actually be out there patrolling, because it's just Juan and I right now. So we're doing our best to kind of keep an eye on the influx of the homeless population coming in and just day-to-day problems. But we don't have a lot of manpower, so we're just trying to keep a lid on things. But that's all I have.
I will say from co-op, from anchoring at the co-op, we have started to see the impacts of the increased newer faces in the houseless community, assuming that that's who we're seeing. It's been an interesting week for us in that it's been more than there was. And so I will align that idea that having maybe more folks out here just driving around, especially the center loop, could be really helpful just for presence. We did have to call dispatch the other day to help us with someone that we had never seen before. So new faces, maybe they'll learn the ropes, that we're all nice. Yeah. Thank you for your support. Derek,
yeah,
you want to
I did a walk. I walked around and spoke with almost the entire houseless population this morning for about 4 hours. And awesome. Even the new faces seem to kind of go with the flow. There wasn't as much pushback as there had been a couple weeks ago. So maybe they are sort of learning from the folks that have been out here a little bit longer. But actually everybody was pretty well behaved and listened to our message to try and keep things somewhat clean. And again, we understand what they're going through, but they can't just take over the entire area. People still need to walk and enjoy the parks as well. So I think the message was well received today, which was nice.
That's great to hear.
Hey, Justin and Gary, it's Spencer. Just wanted to jump in, ask a quick question. Last week, you guys told us that you thought IV was doing a pretty good job with social and physical distancing. Is that still what you guys are thinking, or have you seen a relaxing of things?
Well, from
on our side, go ahead, Gary.
Sorry. Unfortunately, I've just come off night shift. Today is my first daytime shift since we've rotated to from the COVID-19 provisions. But my observations as of just today at the beach, most people at the beach, they're not sunbathing like they used to. They're mostly hanging out in the water, or they're in secluded areas of the beach. So they seem like they're doing a pretty good job. And the other time I see them as coming out for sundown, and people are distancing themselves pretty well. As far as the campus is concerned, everyone's wearing a mask. Everyone has been staying in line with what the recommendations are. So I think it's going pretty well from what I've seen.
Any other questions for Lon?
Spencer, on our end, I was just gonna say last weekend I would say was the least social distance the beaches have been, but I think that's just because it was so hot. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't like the pictures on the news in Orange County and other crowded beaches, but I would say that the practicing of social distancing was a little bit lax last weekend, but I think that was just because of the weather, and there just wasn't enough space for how many people wanted to be at the beach. But I wouldn't say it was like at a critical or crisis level or anything like that. It was just a little more crowded than it probably should have been.
Thank you, guys. Always good to hear your perspective on it.
Thank you.
I was going to just comment that I think that what you just mentioned, Gary and Justin, I think really also speaks to that weariness that people are feeling about social distancing, and the importance for us to kind of double down on our messaging, right? To keep getting the message out there that we are still doing the social distancing part of the work in the community. I can feel that people are, I think probably all of us can feel that exhaustion that people are having with continuing to practice that. And so some kind of reaffirming messages I think are important.
Yeah, I agree. I think people, just because they've been in the house so much, I've seen a growth of people wanting to talk with us as we're driving around, which is always fun for me, but and just ask questions and have human contact. So that's been kind of the mission. I feel like a lot of us have been focused on trying to say something positive just because of the contact, that we're getting right now. So point taken on that for sure.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Is there any, I know Derek's on the call. I don't know if he has any update from the land of law enforcement outreach.
I can give a small update on what I've been doing. So I've recently, with all this COVID communication necessary things, we've realized that we needed our website to be updated. It's been looking a little outdated. So I've actually been spending a lot of time creating a new website for our department, which isn't up yet, but I'm currently working on. And so in that vein, if there's anything that you guys have been going to our website or going to our social media and you've been like, man, I wish I had information about this, or I wish I could see this more readily on our website, please email those things to me, because I am doing my best to make sure that it will be a website that first and foremost serves the needs of those in our community who are looking for quick information, not just COVID related things, but going forward. So that's kind of what I've been up to, which has taken a lot of my time. But if you guys have any input on that, please feel free to email me, and I am working away at that.
Awesome. Thank you for keeping up the shared resourcing for the community. I think that's like the ongoing need, it feels like, and that's been part of maybe just like the general overarching challenge, it feels like, and that's more from the retail store place, is disparate communication or not people not knowing exactly where to go to get the information. But then the challenge that Isla Vista is still unincorporated part of the county, not in the city of Santa Barbara, not in the city of Goleta, but then the cities are making these moves for things like my mask conversation is pretty intense right now because masks are required coming into a grocery store now if you're a customer in the city of Santa Barbara and in the city of Goleta, but not in the county, so not in Isla Vista technically. So it's been a very interesting experience in the past week here to figure out how to be a beacon of all of the things health and safety for everyone, but really needing to be sure that we could require something without that health order. And so as we move forward, like whether it's what Derek's working on with like shared resourcing, or as Beloved Communities working on shared messaging, or even the big county reopening planning process, looking at how expansive some of our messaging can be so that people know that if they're going to a website and they're getting a resource, so that's going to be the same exact thing they're going to see mapped across a lot of different places. So it's less confusing everywhere. That's my dream, at least. And I was wondering if we wanted to, because I saw Rodney on the call and Beyond is here also to talk a little bit about the Loved Community stuff, because I haven't been on those calls and it's coming together really beautifully. Does that feel like a good segue?
Absolutely. Let's see if Rodney is wanting to start off that conversation.
Yeah, sure. Hello, everybody.
A little in and outing.
Yeah.
Rodney is now
messaging campaign. And
Rodney, you might want to turn off your video. That might help because your audio is real choppy.
turn off my what?
Turn off your video.
That'll help. I have a very unstable internet connection. I've already been booted out of the meeting once. So
would it be helpful if I just did it, Rodney? I'm happy to fill in.
yes, please.
Okay, so the Beloved Community Group, I think as you all know, we've talked about it a little bit in prior meetings, has been really focusing on doing some messaging around COVID-19. Some of that is social media messaging and some of that is in-person messaging. What the things that we have been looking at doing has been developing, stickers that can be given out that support the social distancing messaging. Those stickers will be given out by the Ivy Food Co-op and by Woodstock's Pizza. Just to kind of keep reiterating that message, there's 3 different messages that are going out with stickers that are about social distancing, and those 3 messages will all be translated into 3 languages. So they're in English, Spanish, and Mandarin. And then we're also doing some larger posters, some like A-frames and sandwich boards that we're going to be locations that are providing services. The IB Clinic, the Food Co-op, and I'm forgetting where else right now. Just as a way to thank the workers that are doing the work in those spaces as essential workers. And then other messaging that's more supportive of the whole community, kind of just, sticking together and the rest of the group from Beloved Community to finalize PSAs that will be going up for KCSB. There was also an idea of maybe being able to use a version of those or some of that messaging to provide for people who want to add in their Zoom meetings about social distancing. And so the PSAs are pretty much ready to go. They will also be in the 3 languages that we talked about, and they're 30-second messages and longer, really pretty much around the themes of social distancing as social solidarity, taking care of yourselves and each other during this virus, and then also what we can do to take care of the community. So those are the Beloved Community pieces, and all of this is kind of rolling out at different stages. Like as soon as we have it ready, we're rolling it out. So hopefully you'll see the PSAs out first, and then everything else is coming soon afterwards. Anybody else from the Beloved Community? I don't know if I missed anything on that. I'm seeing Aaron, Leonore, good to go, perfect. Okay. Awesome. So that is the beloved community piece. I know that Christian wanted to give an update also from AS. Christian, are you good to go?
Yeah, I can give a quick update. Hi, everyone. So basically, a few weeks ago, me and the other AS executives put in a purchase for about 5,000 facial covering masks. And so I've been tasked with figuring out the distribution in Isla Vista, and I've been getting great help from Deanna, Rodney, and Savannah. And I also know that Deanna's been working with Melissa to kind of figure out how we're going to be distributing these masks. Right now, we've kind of identified a few locations. The Pardal Center Governance Board recently passed a motion to kind of direct staff to figure out logistics in terms of using the Pardal Center as a distribution point. So we're really excited about getting that space open for these community services. Second, we're looking at IV Food Co-op. I know Melissa has been trying to coordinate a lot with Anna. We're just trying to figure out logistics and how many masks we're going to get out a day. And so the last spot that we are interested in is the IV neighborhood clinic. I haven't heard back from them yet, but we're really hoping we can also use that as a distribution point. So as we figure all this out, we currently have 2,000 masks, and we're going to be placing an order for additional masks, depending on how many.
Can I get a second checker to the front, please? Second checker to the front, please. Thank you.
But no worries. But yeah, basically that's the update in terms of the masks. If you know a distribution, or if you are already doing distribution and would like us to provide masks for that kind of service, we're more than willing to do so. Just feel free to reach out to us, and then we can coordinate and order more masks depending on how many we need.
Yeah, Christian, maybe I missed it. Are those N-rated masks?
They're not N-rated. I believe they're just made out of some jersey material, so it's just a facial covering. It's not, it's not N-rated, but they are washable. So we're just going
to back office for a Wilbur delivery, please. Miles to back office for Wilbur.
Thank you, Christian. Any other questions or comments for Christian about this? I will just also note that, just as a point of clarification, that the mass distribution will be for everybody. It's not just going to UCSB students. It's been pretty amazing that Associated Students has been able to dedicate funds to make those masks available to everyone. And as Christian mentioned, we're going to order more, and we expect to keep ordering masks for the duration of this time. So we should have a lot more supply coming in. AS has also ordered thermometers as well, and I don't have more details on that. So thank you for that, Christian. And I will just follow up with that with one other update from Associated Students. I think I mentioned to you last time that the execs have been meeting, and the president of AS did an executive order to create a COVID-19 task force. The purpose of that task force is to really help to coordinate Associated Students' efforts around COVID-19 response, especially as it relates to funding. And so the reason that I want to make you all aware of that is because if any of your organizations are doing COVID-related work and you are looking for funding, I would encourage you to reach out to us. You can reach out to me, to Christian, to Rodney. They're still really developing the criteria for how this might be possible to provide, but essentially one of the things that might be possible with that funding is that it be provided for other community-based interventions. So that, again, not necessarily limited to only doing things for UCSB undergraduate students. One of the provisions of this task force, it allows the student entities to actually contribute money to this fund that isn't tied as closely to their mission statements. So it gives us a little bit of wiggle room to be able to provide funding elsewhere. But as I said, a lot to be determined still, but I just want to let you know, in case you do have some ideas for funding that you need, to go ahead and reach out to us, and we can at least try to see if there's something that we can do in support. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, I think that is all of the associate student reports. Moving on, would anybody else like to have some updates right now, either COVID related or other general updates from your entities? I'm wondering if Ray from IVRPD has an update. I know that you're constantly seeing things happening in the parks and would love to know if there's something, some new information to share with that.
Can you repeat that last bit about what's going on in the parks?
I know you have, of course, a lot of things happening, you know, right now in the parks. So just wanted to see if you.
Sure. I know our grounds crew has been super busy, cutting back a lot of this new growth. And I don't really have any appreciable updates otherwise for you all today. Just general operations or COVID. Otherwise, I was just kind of hoping to field some info. Our parks remain open, but as you all know, most of the amenities therein are closed off to encourage social distancing. And like law enforcement, we've had some issues with gatherings in the parks. Most people have, when approached, been pretty cool about it. They just require a little guidance from times to times, but we haven't had anybody really draw a line in the sand and say, roust me. So anyway, I think that's all I got. We're just continuing to kind of keep an eye on things. You all may see a few folks out wearing vests in the next few weeks. I think at this point we're trying to work with some of our partners at probation and the courts, just from an adopt a block standpoint, to try and get a few folks out there. The nature of the work is relatively socially limited, and we've been fortunate. I think we haven't seen a huge accumulation of litter, but there are some hot spots flaring up, so I'm doing what I can to get some folks out here and keep them safe, but make sure we're hitting that need of the community. So I'll join you guys again next week, and we'll see if we have any updates then.
Great. Thank you very much, Ray. Before we move into any other updates, I wanted to just see if it was okay to kind of have a quick conversation outside of updates, which was just knowing that it's coming close to 1:45. Two things that I wanted to see if we could talk about very quickly. One of them is, I know that having these meetings on a weekly basis is a little bit tough for those of us trying to facilitate the meetings, just because we're spread really thin. And so just wanted to see if there was anybody else who would be interested in helping to support us in facilitating these meetings. I know that Rodney had to jump off the phone. I'm seeing that Melissa has a big heart in the air.
Help.
Rodney has also volunteered to be one of the additional people that helps to facilitate. And I'm just wondering if we can have one more person. Jonathan, fantastic.
Thank you.
Then we can talk offline about how we want to rotate those meetings. Other piece of that conversation was just also if you all agree that maybe it would be helpful, since we're doing this on a weekly basis, to have the Zoom or the call be from 12 to 1, as opposed to 11:45 to 1:15, just to keep it a little bit more concise and keep it easier for people to jump in and out of these conversations. Would that seem all right with everyone? Thumbs up? Okay.
Thumbs up.
Fantastic. Okay. So if nobody is saying no, then we're going to assume the room is silent. Perfect. So then starting next week, we will plan to start at 12 and we'll plan to finish by 1:00. And again, we'll coordinate with Jonathan, Rodney, Melissa, and I to be your new facilitation team. Great.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And so back to updates then. Who have we not heard from that has some updates for us?
I can do a co-op update.
Perfect.
If anybody wants to hear. The co-op is still open and operating 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you didn't get the updates or see the boosted ad across your Facebook, curbside shopping is open to the wider community, and we have the link for shopping right on our website homepage for ease of access. Right now we're doing 10 orders a day. We're still working into online payment. That should be live by next week. And so you'll keep seeing us increase our capacity. And so I just want to make sure that that's known as a service far and wide. There's no minimum order, and there's no specific demographic we're in service to. So even if there's, a student that you know of that might not want to leave their house just to get groceries, they can come. I see a question from Ash about CalFresh. The answer is yes, and we're working on the logistics. The thing about CalFresh is we can't take it over the phone. You have to have the physical card. And so we're trying to figure out, with the logistic challenges of how we have to run the card and make sure there's a register open, like if we want to do it during just one day of the week or 2 days of the week within a certain time period, but we don't want it to feel too not accessible because of that. And so we're in an interesting moment where we're trying to figure out how to be more accessible to open with CalFresh, but then not be so restrictive in how people can use their CalFresh that it becomes inaccessible. So it's actually more complicated than we want it to be. So we're working on it. It's a great question. And we'll post that widely, actually, once we figure out how we want to do it. We just had a call about this yesterday with all the managers, so I'm hoping in the next couple of days we'll have it figured out. The other big thing for us now is that, as I mentioned earlier, I'm calling it the mask ask, because we are in an interesting moment where we do not have a mandated health order, but we are really, really requesting that people, strongly encouraging that people come into the co-op wearing a face covering. We have been working with outside advice to make sure, with our insurance and with legal advice, how we are moving this forward without a county mandate. And we have determined that it's in our wheelhouse to require masks or face coverings. So we offered lead time so people can get used to the idea, because colleagues that run food co-ops are experiencing interesting customer responses about masks. So starting Monday, we will require that you have to wear a mask or face covering to shop at the co-op, unless you have a medical condition that makes it impossible to wear one. And we also will be working, as said earlier by Christian, working with AS, which was a really cool synchronicity to be able to distribute masks also. Because if we're requiring masks, we want to be able to immediately have masks on hand to offer customers. So we do have some here already, but this added distribution will just help us be in the highest level of that kind of service. So it feels like we're in a really good moment to kind of launch mask wearing as more of an ongoing ask within Isla Vista. I know there's restaurants that are open already, and there's businesses that might start to reopen a little bit. And so it feels like a great time that the co-op can sort of be in partnership with AS, which is in partnership also with the Beloved Community, Beloved Community is part of AS. And so we're kind of now weaving together this shared message from right within Isla Vista, so it's not confusing. And if you're out and about, you should be wearing a mask or face covering, and no matter which business or service you're walking into, that you just put on a face covering or a mask, and it's not a big deal, and it shouldn't even be a question at that point. So I think we've come to a really cool moment in shared community messaging around it, and then actually having the literal mask to hand to somebody also. So that's probably our biggest update. I'll be writing another community outward post about that hopefully tomorrow. And I think, yeah, that's the big co-op updates. Thank you all for your patience also if you've been trying to shop bulk, as we're figuring out bulk and curbside and this and that, and here we are. Thank you. Check.
It's amazing to see the work that keeps coming out of the food co-op and the ways in which you all continue to engage both your staff and also the community around it. I really appreciate not only the work, but also the way that you are conveying that to everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate it too. Any other questions?
I had a quick
Great.
question.
Oh, yeah, please.
I'm not really anyone important, like I said earlier, but I'm working on a technology for restaurants so that they can have a menu list experience, so people don't have to touch menus. Maybe it would ease things. So like you talked about people being able to order online and see what's available at the co-op online. Is there a solution like the mask wearing solution that you're providing, like a good template for other restaurants, a good example, like providing masks for people that are arriving without them? That's awesome. I haven't seen that happening in the places where I live. Is there anything like that for like a menu list experience, or like convincing restaurants to provide their stuff online, or mandating that in any way? Have you heard of anything like that?
I'm not totally sure I understand what your question is. I think what you're asking is if restaurants are using an online platform to share a health and safety protocol requirement. Is that what you mean?
No, like what I'm able to buy in the restaurant to be online in an online menu, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say I wanted to, like, instead of going into the co-op and browsing, right, I could go online and specifically order everything I was going to buy ahead of time. And then when I get there, I might be able to like send this to someone that works at the store and knows where everything is, and they could pick up everything for me potentially. Or in a normal restaurant, you know, obviously it's a regular menu that would be available online.
Are you asking? I mean, that's how our program works. So I'm not sure what you're asking. Like, you could go to our website, you click the link, and then it gives you our entire grocery store online, and then you
Right.
place
Many
your
other
order.
places might not have that. So what I'm
Right.
kind of wondering is, it seems like you guys are just a really good template for what other people could be doing. And if you're making other people aware that that's available or that's a technology they could be using.
I see. This technology is specific integration with our point of sale system. It's called WebCart, and it's a function of our point of sale system is called Catapult. And so it's probably not the same as a restaurant point of sale. These are more grocery store specific technologies, but there are a bunch of different resources popping up to support this sort of thing, different from the particular specific module that we have that integrates with our in-store inventory program. And if you want, we can email offline. I can try to bing. I mean, I think even in Santa Barbara, there's probably some examples of that right now with like, what was the name? We have a local Santa Barbara Menus, I think, or SB Menus it was called. And that was prior to having like DoorDash and Grubhub and these like non-local companies. So SB Menus is a local company that kind of came out probably 10 years ago. I think they started, maybe more. But yeah, our particular portal is pretty grocery store specific, I think.
Great, thanks. We can email about that later. My main question is like, is that something that you could force people to use? Like, you're not going to be able to come into the restaurant. They're just going to use this platform, and then you'll bring them stuff at the door or something like that.
I mean, force, I don't know. We are strongly encouraging, and people are self-selecting if they want to be the person to utilize the service. I think some people really love still coming into the grocery store, and I don't think we want to lose that touch point with our community that still wants to have that touch point with us, as long as they're respecting all of our social distancing requirements. So I think we have like two schools of humans a little bit right now. There's people that definitely don't want to leave their house and that really want to support things like curbside shopping and really keep it as contained as they can. And there's some people that really want to push the limits on what is possible, and they miss their community. They miss the experience of grocery shopping. And so they're hell bent on coming grocery shopping. And so that's why we haven't, like, some stores started this off by closing actually and only offering curbside. And my colleagues that are doing that are actually reopening their grocery stores now, because there's a clear need for people to actually tangibly like touch their things and put it in the cart, I think. So forcing, probably not, unless there's a mandate from the county that says restaurants cannot let anybody come in the doors of their restaurant, not even for takeout. Incentivizing it could be an interesting opportunity. So that might be a way to talk about it. We can talk offline to not bore everybody else, probably.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's just kind of curious to me that people are being let into grocery stores, but not like restaurants, where like grocery stores are much more likely to contain virus hanging around on stuff, Yeah,
I think it's a really challenging, we're in a very interesting process as a country right now, because there wasn't one plan and there isn't one plan. And I think there's a lot of learning by doing that's happening right now. And I think we've looked at other countries maybe for how their steps have been, but we're also still in our own process, and it's clunky, and it's not been glamorous or very graceful, but I think everybody in food service is trying their best to figure out what makes the most sense. So not a universal plan, but we're figuring it out. And it looks like Diana has to jump off the call, so we'll say bye and thank you for helping facilitate. Any other questions? Sorry. Any other questions, co-op related, or any other updates that anybody wants to offer? We have Stessa on the call, I see still. Anyone? Okay. I will not force people to talk, but if you have an update that you did not get to share or that you would like to make sure gets emailed out, please send it to the IVCN email address. I realized last week that I just closed the call without copying anything out of the chat. And so sending via email is also probably really helpful. And next week, as Diana said, we'll just do 12 to 1, which feels really concise. And I'm grateful for support with facilitating. So thank you to Jonathan for offering, and to Rodney and Diana. And with that, shall we close and say salutations for a great rest of your day to everyone? Oh, IVYP will be hosting a webinar in Spanish on public charge during COVID on Friday at 10. Check your chat panel for Lori's update. Thank you so much for adding that. And again, if there's flyers or anything you want added, or if there's Facebook events, just ping me. I'll pop it onto the IVCN Facebook page. Thank you everybody so much for being on the call, and we'll see you next week. Bye. See you soon.